Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a very special, and I mean very special. We've had special shows before, but this one is very special. Joe and Joe Weather Show, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, Long Island's largest rock salt provider. And I was there today at Omni True Value Hardware, and they've got plenty of rock salt. There's a lot of spots that are actually short right now after the storm from earlier this week. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is the website. They have the best prices in town. They will be open all day tomorrow and tomorrow night to get your crews over there for picking up salt or any of the products that they have. This is what it looks like from the outside. And they have all the premium snow and ice melt products like Mag Ice Pellets and Flakes, Omni Melt, and Petalo, which is considered the best. And of course, there's tons and tons of rock salt. So OmniTrueValue.com, the place to go. The website, OmniTrueValue.com, 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. And the reason why I say this is a special show is because we not only have one special guest today, but we have two special guests. So to my left, on the upper left, is Tony Gigi, formerly of NWS Mount Hale.
Good afternoon.
And of course, on the lower end, on the lower left, is meteorologist Bill Goodman, who is from NWS Upton. See, I could make Mount Holly sound really rich. It's just say Hale. You can't really do much with Upton now, can you? Upton. I'm in Upton as opposed to Downtown.
Uptown, trying to forecast right. Uptown.
Well, he's an uptown guy.
Yes, he is. So we have two
from the Bronx. Yep.
That's right. There's four Bronx. Look at this. We've got four Bronx boys here.
Wow.
I mean, when was the last time that happened? In a long time. Right. So, folks watching today, welcome to the show. A little unusual for us to be on during the afternoon. Joe and I figured this would be a good time to do it because, well, the Europeans coming out, and God knows everybody seems to live and die by that particular model. Why, I don't know. Okay. Especially after it lost the verification test of the perpendicular GFS. But so those of you on the chat board, pop your questions up there so we can share them with the guests. And so let's get started because Bill and you and I were talking earlier, and I expressed I always get the nervous feeling the day before. I put my forecast out. I know what I'm going for. And then the doubts set in. So tell me how you're seeing this, given the fact that we've got these models doing all sorts of different things today. They're small things, but they're important things.
Yeah, and they kind of have me scratching my head. We had a little bit better agreement before the big storm than we have right now. But I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it's enough to make the difference between getting, say, 3 to 5 or 6 to 8 for some areas. That's what that's driving me a little batty too.
Well, Joe, that's where our forecasts where we left off yesterday. You were in the lower camp and I was in the higher camp.
Well, I looked at the latest the NAM run and the GFS, and the new numbers to me show a couple of things. Number one, this coastal is literally going to rocket past us on Sunday. In fact, using the latitude and longitude cursor on tropical tidbits, I mapped this out and estimated that the average speed tomorrow is going to be 55 miles per hour. Closest to New York around 2 o'clock. About that time, it'll be about 165 miles to the south and east of the Big Apple. The air is only marginally cold, Joe and Tony and Bill. In the city, at least if you look at the NAM Foos in the city and along the coast. In fact, I think the temperatures could actually be briefly above freezing when the snow actually begins. And on the NAM Foos, the boundary layer temperature at T1, the lowest level, starts off at about +1 degree Celsius. I think we'll see spotty light snow get underway around 8 or 9 a.m. The lower part of the atmosphere is still going to be rather dry and won't allow too much snow to reach the ground. But by 10 a.m., I think the column will have moistened up. The steady light snow will commence by that time. And as far as snow is concerned, intensity, I think we're going to see moderate to even heavy snow. I think it's likely between about noon and 2, but then the duration being short-lived because the storm is moving so darn fast, ripping north and eastward, as I said, at about 50, 55. Closest point to us, 2 o'clock. It could all be over with in many areas by 4. And I also noticed that the NAM-FOOS pumped out about 27% less precip than the 0Z run last night. So at the moment, Joe and Bill and Tony, I'm just going to hold my general 2 to 5 inch forecast, only an inch or 2 north of the I-84 corridor, and maybe only an inch or 2 for the immediate ocean shorelines of Jersey and the south coast of Long Island. And that's because of the wet, sloppy consistency of the snow and maybe a little bit of rain mixing in. So that's my thoughts.
Tony, so
Yes.
right before the show,
Yes, sir.
I called up Alan Casper, and when I told him that you were going to be on the show, and he's watching right now, he turned on his Commodore 386 computer, and he's sitting there. He's sitting there watching it on the screen, even as we speak. So lend us a little South Jersey, Southeast Pennsylvania. We have a lot of viewers here, and they're on the chat board too. We have a lot of viewers that watch from the Philadelphia area, Southeast PA, and South Jersey. I find I have a really difficult time sometimes figuring out how things lay out in South Jersey when it comes to snow, particularly the western part of South Jersey. It always seems to be a bit problematic from a forecast standpoint.
If you remember the storm in December, the rain snow line, I mean, it was practically almost like near Philadelphia. So and there've been a number of events where it's just somewhere just geographically near that location. Now we got lucky in with the December storm because we had that big genetic thump at the beginning,
right?
Because that actually got us to the amounts. Because if that didn't happen, then we would have gone over to all that sleet and freezing rain slop that we were sitting in for a while. So I mean, the South, like with this event, South Jersey and Southeastern PA looks like they'll be okay with snow. The problem with them may be like how much precip they get out of this. While down here in the southern half of New Jersey, it looks like and it depends upon the models that you look at too, because there is a split there between some of the mesoscale models and some of the synoptic scale models, which are more snowier toward the coast. But there is an implication there that it may start as rain even as far west as where I am living in Mount Laurel. And then once the intensity picks up, it'll go over to snow. So here it isn't as much of a QPF issue as it is like how much do you lose in terms of it falling as rain? How much do you lose, like Joe said, about, with temperatures around 33 degrees Fahrenheit? So it's not clear cut, but, I would say that probably most places will end up 2 to 4 or 3 to 6 with this.
Why is it, by the way? I've noticed this over the years. Model guidance for snow for the northern half of New Jersey, north and east.
Yes,
tends to, you get times where it outperforms. In other words, the models sort of really catch it in terms of the numbers and get it very close. But it seems to me that every time I see snow for areas in southeastern Pennsylvania, there has to be there's a climatological snow hole there around Philadelphia, because every time the models put down amounts down there, they almost never reach those numbers. They're almost always underneath. And it's a little tough to juggle sometimes when you've got a model putting out big numbers, and for example, just in the case on Monday, you had some of the models at times putting out these ridiculous double-digit numbers, and they never came to pass.
Yes, Joe. No, you know what? Because this is something that I've been doing for years, and now can do it like more at leisure because of being retired. You know, not losing like some events where I evaluate the QPF forecast for a series of models for Philadelphia, and it's almost always intrinsically too wet. I mean, granted, you're verifying for 1 point, and versus other points, and that airport ASOS, I think maybe sometimes, like even this past event, I didn't use the ASOS precipitation amount. I actually used the city of Philadelphia precipitation amount. But I almost always like indubitably for Philadelphia, almost like just take 1/3 off whatever the models are forecasting for QPF, because it just seems like it just like you said, like you've noticed, it just overdoes it. It just overdoes
Yeah,
it.
almost all the time. Bill, so Bill, lend us the perspective now from what you think for uh, northern New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, the Hudson Valley. How are you seeing this? And I know you wanted to look at some sounding, so I'm gonna put the screen up here. Just let me know if you guys are seeing. I'm going to bring the NAM up. I don't know. Wait, actually, I have to pull the NAM 3 up. But let me bring let me share the screen. You let me know that you can see the maps. Are you seeing it?
Oh,
Yes, yes.
Okay.
yeah,
All
okay,
right.
yeah, I see tropical tidbits.
So this was the 12-kilometer NAM today. And it seems like it's much more, and first of all, it seems like it's much more amped up than the global models. Why do you think that is?
Uh, I think it has to.
Bill, I don't want to interrupt you, but Joe, I'm monitoring YouTube, and I just see a black screen. I'm not seeing any
Oh,
map.
hang on. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Uh-oh.
Hang on. I can solve that problem momentarily. Uh,
And while you're doing that, Reaver
all right.
501 says, Joe Rayo, I contend you're much too low. To my 2 to 5. I'm only socially lower. That's
Yes, exactly.
for the accumulation. I don't think so. But
All right. Give me a moment here while I fix this horror that I just created. I do this all the time. Um, okay. So let's see if I. Oh, good. I got that back. Okay. So that's there. So hang in there. See, this is what happens. You know, in TV land, you have somebody else's job is to do all the technical stuff. And
we need a
well,
switcher. We need a switcher, Joe.
we need a switcher is right. All right, so let me try this again. So hopefully I can pull this off. So just give me a moment here. Okay, so you guys can see the screen, but the audience cannot see the screen. Okay, so this is not the share screen.
Okay.
The share screen on my end is not going to help us. So I will do it a different way. I will. You tell me. I'm going to put up the NAM, and you guys can tell me, what you think. So just hang on 1 second. Let's go one more time. I'm sorry. So here we go. Switch to the NAM. And okay, so I got the NAM up on the screen at the moment. And again, this is the Bill. The NAM the NAM was a little more amped than the global models. So if you could expound or expand on what you think why is that the case?
Yeah, I think it's been more amped than the global models all along, and I think we even saw that with the blizzard, the snowstorm, whatever you want to call it, last week, the near blizzard, and I think it did very well. And Tony, I normally agree with you on chopping off some QPF, but when we have a situation where you have heavy banded snow, at least out here, it's worked out. It's worked out very well. We for the last event we went with the NAM stock and barrel. And got amounts pretty close. And I think for the most part that would work out, except the agreement with other guidance that I'd like to, especially with the regional Canadian, which several models on board with the NAM with the last event. This time it's a little shakier, and that's
Oh, that's true. That's true. That usually you need the regional Canadian to come along with the NAM to collaborate it, or else.
All right. Well, let me pull up the RGEM now. So the RGEM, when I looked at it earlier, looked like it was not that much different than the NAM, but it looks like it's actually a little bit warmer, at least initially. Uh, the track of the low seems to be pinched a little bit further northwest than what the globals have. But it does seem to show a little bit more warming, although it does eventually get us into the darker blue. I can't pull up soundings for the RGEM. I can pull them up for the NAM 3 if you want me to do that, Bill.
All right. Yeah, I'm not able to see them, so I'm just sort of.
Oh, okay.
And Buff Kit to try to see what.
All right, hey Joe, maybe you could pull it up and share the screen, because I know if you share the screen, I won't have this issue that I'm having on my end.
So what are we specifically looking for? The NAM?
The NAM 3 kilometer.
Okay.
So yeah, so just click on the spot and pull up the sounding, and then share your screen, and then we should have it up there.
Okay, so let me share my screen, see if this is going to work. And this is technology wonderful. All right, so this is 0Z Tuesday. We don't want to look at that. We want to go.
So let's look at tomorrow morning. I have it up on the screen now, so I mean you can see it. So it is everybody can see it. So it's up there.
So where do you want the sounding for New York or for Islip, or where do you want it?
Bill, you should be able to see it now.
Okay, let's get a look. Yes, I can. Okay.
Well, you're up almost to Albany there, Joe. There you go.
No one told me where you want the sounding to be taken from.
A little bit farther east. A little bit farther east. Right about there is good on Long Island.
Okay.
Ow! He did that right over my head.
At least we didn't put a low over your head. You have a big red L on your head.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that may come later in the show. All right.
All right. This is so much easier than back in Professor Getzelman's synoptic class, where we had to plot out the TTAAs and the TTBBs.
Yeah, no, we're not doing. Yes. Yeah, we don't do that no more.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't. All right, Bill, go have at it.
Yeah, so take a look at that sounding. I mean, that's right at the onset of snow, and that looks pretty warm to start. So yeah, I could agree that we might start off as a period of rain. Once the snow picks up intensity, though, I think that's over, and we just go right to snow.
But the problem, Bill, as I maintain, is that it'll change over to snow as the wind's back around, and people, the snow lovers especially, start getting excited. It's like, all right, here we go. But how long can that happen with the speed of that storm? We might get a couple, 3 hours, but that's about it. We'll have to do it in 2 or 3 hours if you're going to get a substantial or significant snow out of this.
So you're going to have to squeeze in about 5 or 6 tenths of precip in that short window. I mean, the issue all along with this has been the fact that, unlike the system from earlier this week, there's no upper low, there's no stalling, there's none of that nonsense. So you're limited to a 6 to 8 hour time frame here from start to finish.
Yeah, I think so. So we probably, if we're starting off as rain, we're probably losing, at least for the coast and the city, maybe losing the first inch or so to rain or a mix. The one thing I see that's different in the NAM, and that's at 500 millibars, if we can pull that up, is it just looks like the that lead short wave that comes through during the early afternoon is just so much more intense than what I've seen in the Canadian and the global models. They seem to the Canadian just seems to brush the area.
Right.
Get myself here.
Hang on, I just got to get the. There we go. And you want 500, right, Bill?
Yeah, we'll look at 500, or even if maybe, I'm not sure if we can get front of Genesis on this. It probably showed the same thing.
Oh, God, yeah. You could pull up the Omega from that. You just made Joe Rayo happy because he loves talking about Omega.
All right. Yeah, the NAM 3, that's a little bit noisy. Maybe
try the Omega, Joe. Try the Omega on that, on the lower dynamics.
Well, yeah. Well, then what I could do is I go back to Northeast. Excuse me. Yeah, boy.
He's got measles, for God's sake.
And 700 Omega. Now this is for 7 a.m. 24 hours from initial. And then what we can do is we can let me move that up, and then I'll just move my arrow here. Boom, boom. Here's 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11, 12, 1. Look at that. Look at all that stuff splashed all over the Long Island, the
Right, and now,
Tri-Cities.
at this point, we should be mostly, if not all, snow everywhere with this. I would think at this point. So it'll be a matter
Mhm.
does that omega wind up uh, being S plus underneath all of that? I think that and how long does it last?
Well,
That's really the critical question here.
this is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Boom, it's ending by 4 o'clock. And by 5 o'clock, except for Eastern Long Island, it's all but gone. So that shows you the rapid movement of this system and how quickly the dynamics, increase. They peak, but just as quickly they go down, down, down during the mid and late afternoon.
I mean, you've got pretty strong warm advection and front agendas happening there at 700 millibars. So there's going to be a big thump in the afternoon.
Yeah, no question.
And
And I think the NAM is the most intense that compared to the other. I guess in a certain way, it's a persistence forecast. We had that happen with the blizzard, figuring it's going to happen now, and seen it happen in a number of events up this way where the NAM has done this, other models haven't, and the NAM has ended up being correct.
well, how much can we do? Well, Fled on the chat board pointed out that with respect to the RGEM, and I remember this is quite true, the RGEM was among the models that was too warm. So are we still possibly dealing with another event here where we've got a warm bias to work through, and that the atmosphere may not wind up being in reality as warm as you think? Just putting it out there. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think it's this upcoming event is um, warmer or milder than what we had to deal with the, because remember what we were dealing with last Monday. We had a big cold high up over eastern Canada and northern New England. We don't have that this time around, and I think the temperatures, as I said at the onset, are marginally cold. I mean, dynamically, evaporational cooling will do its job, and so even if we're a couple of degrees above freezing at the surface at the start of the event tomorrow morning, I'm sure it's going to cool down, but as Bill pointed out, we may lose an uncertain amount at the beginning, and then it's going to be a matter of seeing how long we can maintain that intensity, be it 2-3 hours maybe around midday or early afternoon before everything begins to rapidly wind down because of the fast movement of the storm.
All right, I have off. You guys can't see it yet. I'll put it up on screen in a second, but because I'm getting it ready. But I have the new European, which is out. It's already well past. So why don't we, Joe? If you would release the hounds.
Release the hounds.
I
Yes.
did.
So
I
now
did.
I'm going to switch over. I'm not. I'm going to do it my way, so I don't, knock it off completely off the board here, and we'll take a look. And these are on Pivotal's website, which I have to tell you I've been using more and more of, uh, especially when it comes to getting some of the more specific numbers that they throw out on QPF and everything else. So this is 12Z tomorrow morning. The European has snow on the doorstep of New York City. So apparently, I mean, the light stuff. So apparently, at least from the standpoint of start time, it looks like it's a little faster. The NAM slowed it down a little bit. This one's a little bit faster. It has mostly snow on the European in New Jersey, oddly enough, except for the Jersey Shore. Alan, are you listening? Down to Cape May, and sleet just inland. The 1001 low just off just right near Nags Head, or just northeast of Nags Head, North Carolina. And that's at 1 o'clock. This will be revealing. So at 1 o'clock, it's got dark blue snow over Long Island, down into central Jersey and the coast. The lighter blues go pretty, up to the northwest. It's got a band of sleet that's offshore. The low looks like it might be a shade south and east of the NAM and the RGEM. It's not really that far away. And by tomorrow night at 36 hours, my screen won't freeze on me. So at 36 hours, I want to get that Pivotal logo in there, so give the free plug. Of course, by 36 hours, it's already long gone. So the magical snow maps. Tony, Gigi, what do you think about the snow maps?
I think that's doable, but I think that's kind of like at the high end of assuming that that seems like the conflict that's been going on between, like you said, about like with the RGM and the NAM, even to a certain extent down here, versus like some of the global models. I mean, I should say the euro is probably at this point a little bit more bullish than the UK Met came in kind of, and the Canadian global wasn't really. I don't think as emphatic. So, I would think that's kind of like it. I mean, if it comes in, if the photogenic forcing is strong and it comes in that quickly, I think that's a doable high end. But I don't think you'd probably get more than that out of this down here. I would think like 3 to 6 is probably near the top.
Well, I can tell you the numbers. I mean, the numbers are being generated, and I'm not. I've said this before. We talk about this from time to time. These accumulated snowfall forecast maps are pretty useless when you're looking at something at 5, 6, 7 days out. But when we're inside the 36-hour time frame, they're going to match up with the precip field pretty much. So so the new European, actually the numbers are on par with last night's, and it might even be a couple of ticks higher. It gives 5.5 for Islip, 5 for that station that's just I always think it's Tom's River. 4.6 at Trenton, 4.9 at Philadelphia, 5.7 at Wilmington, 5 inches at Baltimore, 4.8 in DC. So I mean, this would certainly argue for Joe Rayo, the 2 to 5 is going to be a lot better than my 4 to 6 with the area of 6+. But Bill,
many runs to go, Joe.
No, well, not that many, Joe. There's only really a couple more.
That's right. Well, if you take out the intermediate and only go for the primary 0 and 12, we've got 2 more primaries. We've got the 0 tonight and the 12 tomorrow. And honestly, and this is all for you young folks out there who are aspiring to forecast, by tomorrow morning, if you're still looking at model guidance and not actually physically plotting and looking at the radar and satellite pictures,
or looking out the window, that's it. So, yeah, you're right. I always tell everybody
too many people coming out of college. I mean, the storm is literally upon them, and they're saying, "I can't do anything yet. I'm still waiting for the 12Z run to come out." I mean, forget it. By that time, if you don't know what the hell's happening, you're in big trouble. You just got to start looking now at nowcasting as opposed to forecasting. So
this is usually around this time for me, about 24 hours beforehand. I do look a lot less. I just tend to, I'll give it a quick glance just to make sure that there's nothing out of sync. But in terms of spending an inordinate amount of time on the models, once we're almost at the point where the thing's going to get underway, because you know what, I want to watch it. I want to watch some of it, which Joe and I now have the luxury of doing because we don't have to drive to work anymore. We get to just stay home and put our feet up. Well, not put your feet up because Joe has to go out and shovel. But Anthony, put your face is away from the camera.
Oh, where am I? I'm sorry.
You're too relaxed.
I'm sorry, my face disappeared.
No, okay. You're too relaxed. It's just all good. So
I'm too relaxed. No, I know I didn't fall asleep. No, I was
looking out the window like a good meteorologist.
Okay, so let's do.
Yes, I remember the joke with my wife. I was staring at the computer screen, and I said to her, "You know what? I think it's going to start raining soon." And she said to me, "Why don't you go look out the window, idiot? It's raining."
All right, so let's do this. Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's pick up a couple of points. Use the number. We'll use 6. Okay. So Islip 6. Over or under? Bill.
Over.
You go over 6. Okay. Yeah. Anthony.
Oh my God. I had no idea. Islip, really?
Islip.
I'll go over.
Tony.
Long Island. You guys get more snow. I mean,
no, over. We get right. Thank you. And Bill knows it. We get bizarre stuff that happens out here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a couple
Yes.
of years since we've had bizarre stuff, but we get bizarre stuff. Joe Rayo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going under 6.
you're going to go under.
Actually, the Islip is right on the line because I'm cutting Long Island in half, with the south half getting 1 to 2 and the north half getting 2 to 5. So I don't know exactly where MacArthur Field is relative to my imaginary line.
They're just south of the LIE, so they would be the way you drew the line. They're nowhere close to the line. So the way
Okay.
you drew the line on the map yesterday, you're nowhere close to it. So,
Well, then
so
what? But I'm still under 6.
you're going to go under
Regardless.
6,
Yeah.
which leaves me. I'm very torn because there's a part of me. My forecast has Long Island in 6 plus, and Bill and I are practically neighbors, so I'm going to go over. I'll go over for Islip, but only barely. Okay, only barely over. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
but let me ask a question. If Islip ends up with somewhere between 4 and 6, who loses and who wins? I mean,
It depends on who sets
get...
It depends on who sets the rules. But if it's between 4 and 6, it's under 6, so you win.
Yeah, but let me tell you, Joe, if I'm out there shoveling away 4 or 5 inches and I missed by 1 from 6, let me tell you, my back, my sacroiliac,
No, I
my neck,
understand.
my shoulder ain't gonna give a darn.
No, I understand.
Oh yeah, my road won't get plowed just the same whether it's 4, 6, or 7.
Right. No, this is just sort of some meteorological fun. All right. I'll put it out there for you, Tony. So,
Yes.
Philadelphia, over or under 6?
Under.
Bill,
I almost sound too confident, Joe. I don't know. Maybe that's not good. Maybe people should go over. But anyway, yeah, under.
Bill,
Philly? Ooh, that is a tough one. I'm gonna. How about if I pick 6?
so you're saying, so you want to say exactly 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so Philadelphia will get exactly 6, not a tenth more and not a tenth less. Okay, so Bill says 6. I'm going to go with Anthony on this one for Philadelphia. It's a go under because, like I said earlier, it almost always comes in under.
See, now if you asked me about Mount Laurel, I would say under.
Mount Laurel gets.
Yes, because he doesn't. The Mount Laurel observer doesn't know how to measure snow. Yes.
No, and you're the tornado capital of New Jersey, are you not?
That's right. 2 in 1 year last year.
That's insane.
Wow.
All right, so let's go a little long range and talk about the next couple of weeks because it seems to me that we are actually in a pattern that winter weather lovers will at least get some excitement out of watching some possibilities down the road. I was thinking Tuesday is one of those weak, innocuous systems that should remain that way. But those are the kind of systems, Tony, Gigi, where Long Island, where you wake up the next day and somebody's got 9 inches. Okay. And it's happened. This is not something you can forecast now, but that's what Tuesday's system to me looks like. One of those types of systems. But I thought the one toward the end of next week has some potential as a pretty decent overrunning event up in the East Coast, and maybe even a fairly serious ice storm event for parts of the Mid-Atlantic and back over into the Tennessee Valley, at least in the way the European was showing it.
Yeah, it looks pretty ugly, Joe. I mean, even the GFS has it, and everyone, I mean, pretty much knows that the the GFS's thermal skills are not exactly that great.
You just reminded me. I want to ask, maybe you might know the answer to this.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last, this started last winter. There was a time last winter where they were doing some adjustments to the when they brought the parallel which became the new operational, and they found that they had this cold bias. I'm noticing over and over again. There was a one day last week with one of these minor events. I had a 5/16 thickness here, and the GFS was showing rain. Is that some of the thermal problems that you're talking about? Is there something structurally in there that's causing that?
That's an extreme, but no, but I have seen. I mean, I have seen like the GFS like forecast low thicknesses, and maybe not 516, but
No, but
low thicknesses.
routinely, Anthony, you'll have uh, 528 to between 528 and
Yes,
534, and it's got rain.
right. Rain is the pre-top. Yeah, because it just seems like it just hangs on to the boundary layer, like surface temperatures too warm. I mean, even like this last Monday or Tuesday event here,
Mm-hmm.
it just perpetually was forecasting 2 meter temperatures that were in the mid 30s while it was snowing. I think even while it had snow as a P type.
Right.
So it's just not that. And the irony is that the flip of it is because it'll throw a run out there, and not the 12Z run, but I think it was the 6Z run, or there was a run like last week where it actually had a forecast of a low of -8 Fahrenheit with that when it was bringing the whole polar vortex down around Valentine's Day.
Oh my! I was looking at the 6Z overnight. It had
Mhm.
-5 isotherm here by Sunday morning for
Yeah.
ice
Right.
slip, and it had
Yeah.
-10 across North Jersey. And of course, on the 12Z run, it went away.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So on one hand, it does that, and then on the other hand, in scenarios where it really should be snowing, it somehow it just keeps on maintaining like above freezing temperatures right at the surface. So I don't know. I can't figure it out.
Well, I have the European up for 0Z Friday, and we've got a low in what looks like a primary in central Kentucky, a cold high from Hudson Bay that's sort of enveloped around it, ridging down into the Appalachians, freezing rain over Virginia, snow in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and on the next time period. I'm just switching to a loop just to make it easier for me to move this.
Incidentally, Joe, I have the European, and on the provider that I have, it goes at 6 hour intervals. So the next one I have is 6Z Friday.
Okay, yeah, I'm on 6 hour intervals too.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm up to six. I'm actually up to 12Z Friday. So I have 6Z and I have 12Z.
I'm all the way up to 168 hours, which is.
Oh, so am I. Okay, I just didn't hit it that far.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this looks like primary to eastern West Virginia, just kind of a little low redevelops at the last minute. It looks like it's snow that goes to sleet or freezing rain, and then it just ends. So this would be
maybe we might have a. Do you think with the primary over central Kentucky as of Thursday night that there's any chance that we could have a more rapid intensification or rapid development of a secondary off the coast that could cut off the warm air advection and keep that 540 and the cold air from flying north out of our area during the overnight into early Friday? Or is it just going to be a matter of the primary being the main player until the secondary finally begins to start winding up, but that'll be long after we lose the cold air.
Yeah, but there's not much precip after that happens anyway, at least the way the Europeans displaying it. Right. And then after that goes by, there's another low that comes up right behind it, and this probably is what brings down the Arctic air, because you got this gigantic high that's approaching Lake Winnipeg, and it has, which is now as far as we go, which is 168. It has a low in near Raleigh-Durham, with the cold high kind of branching over the top and some precip breaking out over New Jersey and New York State.
Freshen up your maps, Joe, because I'm out to 180 already.
Okay.
I'm out to 0Z Sunday.
Yeah, usually this actually automatically refreshes when the new map arrives, so I guess I'm just a little bit behind you. Here now, I just got the 174.
Okay.
So, you have a higher class of European provider than I do, I
guess. Joe has better connections. Yeah, because I'm only 174 also.
Okay, so 174. There's 1,000 low just off the Delmarva Peninsula. Looks like there's rain up through northern New Jersey, and then snow further up north than there. And then of course the big high comes in after that. We'll take a look at the 500s here. Let's see what's going on with that. So I'll bring that up. Hang on, everybody. Stand by. So, Bill, what's happening across, North America with regards to the overall pattern? I mean, I'm noticing that we have, this block rebuilds, a vortex that forms underneath it in Hudson Bay and just kind of gets pinched down uh, into the plains and into the Great Lakes as we go into next weekend. This is a really cold looking pattern overall. It's just a question of timing as to when the cold air gets in here.
I guess. Well, as I look at it, I'm wondering whether it's just going to be a real cold spell for the northern plains and a glancing blow for us, because we do have ridging that's at least going into next weekend. That's along the coast. So.
Well, yeah, and the European it does show up. So the GFS was trying to bodily bring that whole vortex down into the east. It still kind of does, but it actually hangs most of it back. But I wonder whether that, for at least for snow lovers, don't you want it to hang back a bit so that you're more on the boundary rather than being
Yes.
deep into the cold air?
Yes. Yes, yes. No, that's why, like when I moderate the Philly the board, and some of these guys really wanted to get cold, and I keep on saying to these guys, why do you want to be deep in the cold air so you can be the source for the snowstorm down in Georgia?
Yeah.
It worked in 2013, 14, and 2014, 15, but those were special cases those years.
Yeah.
Where we were, because I remember those 2 winters. I don't think we had a single snowstorm in either of those winters where the temperatures were above 25, and we had a number of them where the temperatures were in the teens through the whole thing. That doesn't happen here very often.
No, I think in 2013, 14, every time a shortwave burped, we got 2 to 4 inches of snow.
Yes. Yes. A good nothing like a good belching shortwave. So what do you think of the longer term? Because it does look kind of blocky. The AO, the Arctic Oscillation, is either deeply negative or off the wall negative for at least part of the time over the next couple of weeks. Bill, your thoughts, because I know you look at this stuff a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I looked as far as going into late this week. Certainly, that's when the AO and the NAO both start to come out of the, after they tank, they both start to come up. So that kind of goes along with the late week storm. Beyond, I think around that time we probably had like a little bit of negative EPO, which I know you're a big fan of, Joe, and positive PNA. So yeah, all those things point toward at least colder, but I don't know exactly. I don't know how long beyond that. I guess I've looked about that far, just with I'm always shooting the wolf in front of me at the National Weather Service. So sometimes my right now my dad had a bit of tunnel vision on what's been going on, with what's right in front of us.
Well, Joe, I could give you speculation. I'll probably be wrong because I actually, being retired, I look more beyond the great beyond now than.
Of course, absolutely. By all means, you golf, so you look well past the great beyond to a par 3 or par 4. So. Yeah, go ahead. No, lend your 2 cents in here. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if can you see this EPO on there or not? I'm not sure.
Hold on. I'm gonna try to share this. Let me hit the shares. Let me get the share screen button set up again, and you can go ahead and do that. Hang on.
I'm not. I mean, I'm just staring at. I'm staring at our PC, so I'm not sure how well this is showing.
All right, can you share? Well, pull. No, I can't. All right, so lift your phone up just a little bit higher. Go a little bit lower. I'm sorry. Go the other way.
Well, higher. Left, right.
Go down. Lower. Lower. A little more. Do. Okay, good. Stop right there. Now, if you go side to side, we can see your EPO.
Yeah, this is European Ensemble EPO. That there was this ran last night. So that switches to positive around Valentine's Day. I don't think the skill on this is like much beyond day 8. So that's right about day 8 right now.
Hang on, I'm sorry. Tony, just do that one more time. Scroll through one more time because I had
Okay.
the screen. The screen. If you guys, if you look up on the upper left, everybody could see the EPO there. My favorite teleconnection.
Oh, I like it too, Joe. It's if the EPO is a negative, it's tough to get cold air here.
Anthony, give me a negative EPO any day of the week, and I will take my chances with the other ones.
Oh yeah, no, because with the NAO has been negative since what? Since
Thanksgiving.
Since the fall. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're just blocking Pacific air.
I know we had excellent point. You put it perfectly. That's exactly what we had.
Right.
For much of the time from Thanksgiving to the end of January, you had an NAO that was blocking Pacific air, and it's useless. It makes it useless.
Right, but in terms of like this, and I don't know if this is going to make people happy or not, but like because we did actually have a stratospheric warming event. And and sometimes you can give too much credit or blame to for the warming event to cause a pattern change or not. A lot of times the warming event changes the NAO to negative, flips it to negative, but it was negative to begin with. But it did looks like it has displaced more of the colder air away from the pole. And that usually, and because I actually did a presentation with the North Jersey Weather Observers about this, because that usually persists, like that pattern change with the warming event, the stratospheric warming event, normally lasts about a month, and there's normally like a couple of week lag from when the warming occurs to when it actually has impacts in our weather.
Well, we had multiple warmings and splits that started just after Christmas and went through the middle of January.
Right, and so usually there's about a 3-week lag. That's like the average. So that'd be like around January. I think it was like I was picking January 25th as the date. So if you go from January 25th to February 25th, you'll say that this is like the SSW regime. And then after that, right now, what they are forecasting is a reconsolidation of the stratospheric polar vortex, which is not surprising. I mean, that does happen. So let's just say that even though the EPO may be wrong about flipping on the 14th, you would think that like somewhere toward the second half of February, the current pattern would relax, that you would actually get, let's say, normal or milder than normal for the rest of February. And that's just my thought.
Right. Well, then this is the snow lovers' window of opportunity.
Yes,
then.
Yes, and as Tom Grant says, every school child knows it loves to snow in February. So yes, this was perfectly timed.
You just reminded me. In a way, I would hope that last night's GFS, Joe Ray, you're going to love this. So I'm hoping that last night's GFS would verify with that bitter cold air coming to the east, because no Tom Grant discussion is better than when he's criticizing landlords to make sure that they keep the heat up under these extreme conditions. I have never forgotten that line that he landlords are advised to keep heat up under extreme conditions. I love Tom Grant. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making fun of him. This is coming from right from my heart. The man was great. I loved him. He was terrific.
You know what, Joe? He's still. I spoke to Ed Yandrich. He's still got his wits. I mean, he's close to 90 now.
Oh, God! Oh my!
And he's still. He's still there. He's still there.
Well, it's fun. Well, Alan reminded me on the phone today because our mutual friend George Cullen, who used to work at CBS, called him up, and he's now retired. He lives down in North Carolina. He played for Alan, and Joe, I know you have it. I have it buried somewhere. He played the NOAA Weather Radio broadcast from the night before, which was me.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
Mm.
it brings
You made
back
me
fun.
so happy that night, Joe.
Yes, I think I made every snow lover in the New York City area thrilled that night. But that was a time when I was interning at the Weather Service. I was 19 years old. And Tom Grant was always, I mean, everybody there was great to me, but, Tom
Mhm.
Grant was, you always gravitate to one or two people that we
I
all
actually
do
met
that.
Tom
I
actually
love
was an
Tom.
adjunct professor at CCNY,
Yes,
and,
yes.
I had one of his classes, and he was fabulous. And he came to one of I invited him at the time. I was the AMS secretary for CCNY, and I invited him to come down to our Thursday afternoon, noon to 2 p.m. seminars. Remember Spar, Professor Spar used to walk in,
Yep.
to let us say seminar time. Oh
Oh,
God,
too funny.
we're going back now. Now we're going way back.
Then,
Hey, I want to show you guys. Can I share the screen one more?
yeah, go. Do what you got to do.
Let me show you. Joe, you and I were talking about this on Joe and Joe last night, and I said to you, wouldn't it be wonderful if that
Ouch.
big upper trough, which now this is actually based upon 12Z yesterday. This is the 12Z run from yesterday. And I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if that trough could somehow manage to go from positive to maybe a negative type trough to maybe generate some kind of a storm. This is valid for Valentine's Day, 18Z, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, based upon yesterday's 12Z run. Then we show you now the 0Z run last night. And look what happens. Now it's not quite as positive. And now take a look at the 12Z run here. And look at that. Now it's gone from a positive shortwave to now kind of not a negative, but
A neutral.
a neutral
Well, this is
zone.
for next Sunday, right?
Correct. Now,
Well,
you know the old saying, the trend is your friend.
right.
And the way this
Joe,
is
just pull that up a little higher. There you go. That's
there you
perfect.
go. And the way this is trending here, who's to say that maybe early next week for Valentine's Day, we would have like a negatively tilted trough, somewhere right about here, with maybe some kind of dynamic system developing around here. It's we're talking about maybe a warm up because the primary goes to our west. That's with that first system, but who knows what next weekend
Well,
holds?
there's one right behind it the next day for Saturday into Sunday.
That's what we're
Bill,
looking at, aren't we? This is what we're looking at for
yeah,
Sunday, 1 o'clock next Sunday.
Bill, you were talking to me earlier today. We were messaging each other, and you mentioned about the AO and the PNA and the NAO. Now, the blizzard we had earlier, the big storm from earlier this week, because technically we didn't have a blizzard warning,
Mhm.
but the big storm from earlier this week came at a
The
time
big storm
where,
is coming this way,
what's that?
and the big storm we've been
And the
talking
big storm we've been talking about for the past 300 years, or in AccuWeather's case, it's Charlemagne. But anyway, we had. I'm trying to remember now because I'm too lazy to go back and look at the charts at the moment. Did we not have? We had the NAO negative, and we had the PNA negative. And I was arguing the week before that it was probably a good thing that some people were saying, "Oh, the PNA is negative," and I said, "You have a negative EPO, so right there, you have a negative EPO. 3/4 of your problems are solved." Okay, but I was contending that the negative PNA was a good thing because the negative NAO would just suppress. And if you got the offset with the PNA being negative, that you get something that can come up further north. Aren't the teleconnections making some big moves next weekend with regards to right around that Valentine's Day period?
Well, yeah, that's where I was saying earlier, that's where the AO and the NAO, I guess either right then or right before that, they're coming, I guess they're sharply negative or trending that way, and then they're going to come back up. And that's usually when you end up with some kind of storm. And
mayhem.
I to go back to something that you said, Joe Rayo, that I guess I've heard other meteorologists talk about in this pattern, maybe too much energy being held back in the northern stream, and that so your idea about this, that maybe that trough next weekend still trending back, holding back a little bit, and maybe doing what you said. Maybe there's something to that.
Might be. Unfortunately, whatever happens next weekend is going to be dependent upon the system that we're looking at for tomorrow, and then the next system that's coming our way for Tuesday, and then the system on Friday, and that will be the penultimate system before the whatever we're looking at for next Sunday comes along. And you really, especially in such a fast and rapidly changing and moving situation like what we're into right now, these models, they're supercomputers, but they can't keep up with any of this. They're trying their best, but as we said, the trend seems to be going from positively tilted from this way on the screen, right? Positively tilted to now neutral, maybe by next weekend. And like I said, who knows? Maybe a little sharper.
Maybe by next weekend we'll have a ridge. Maybe by next weekend we'll have a ridge there.
Yeah.
And the upper low will be back, somewhere in Western Lake Superior.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun.
Yeah, we have a good. See, Anthony, you were, I had to cajole Anthony ever so slightly. He wasn't sure.
Slightly.
We're very gentle here. We have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've gone 55 minutes, and we actually sort of made a forecast through that period, so it was productive. So let's talk about your golf game.
No, do we have
Anthony? Tony. By the way, Tony and I went to the same high. Tony and I went to the same high school. Tony was 1 year behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So
the story of my life, 1 year behind Joe. Yes. Oh,
yes.
And at CCNY too.
And the CCNY, correct. So, so anyway, let's talk about your golf game. So how where are we with this? Are we Augusta? Are we at?
No,
not yet. On your way?
Nah.
I have connections in Georgia. I could get you in. Maybe.
Oh, you mean I could actually be a patron? No.
We want you to.
You actually play. Oh no, I don't know. No, I enjoy it, but you know what? I don't take it too seriously. Thank God.
What golfer does? I mean, I don't golf, but I have friends that do. If they took it seriously, I think they would end their lives, for God's sake.
Oh no, but you do. I mean,
the way they
sometimes you do golf. You do golf with some people who just like, oh my God. I mean, it's like you think that they were like carrying pails of water across the Sahara with the way they play that round. It's like, oh no, this is for pleasure. This isn't for for pain. I mean, there's a level of ineptness, Joe. If I fall below that level of ineptness, I do get angry. But my bar is set pretty low. So, and actually, the irony of all
do you enjoy yourself? Because that's what really matters.
Yes. And the irony is that, my wife was after me to do some exercising. I said to her, why don't we take up golfing? And the irony is that my wife has a beautiful golf swing and I look like a drunken sailor. She says to me, I can't even look at you when you hit the ball. So
I've tried, and it's one of those things that I played a lot of tennis over the years. I stopped playing about 3 spines ago. But the tennis swing and the golf swing, and I'm not really a natural athlete at all. So I mean, if you're a natural athlete, you can hand them a tennis racket and you can hand them a golf club, and they know.
Right. Yes.
I can't. It took me years to just be able to figure out how to hit the tennis ball right. So I just said, I'm not doing this. One frustrating sport per person per lifetime. That's my feel on it. Bill, do you play golf?
Nah, I'm not a golfer. I mean, I used to be a softball player, but then when my
my God, I have seen your Facebook posts about baseball. Oh, God. I could feel the tension.
Oh boy, well, when my son got involved in playing baseball, then it was all about that, and then don't get me started on that. Just the whole direction the Major League Baseball is going in. That's I just want to turn and run. It's almost enough to make me start watching the NFL again.
My! I used to be an avid baseball fan. I was somebody that used to score games. Joe's a huge Met fan. I mean, I used to score Yankee games. I would stay up with my radio, my portable radio when I was a kid under the pillow because if my mother heard it, she'd flip out. You never want an Italian mother to flip out.
No,
That's
no.
never. Uh, so uh, so I would listen to games, and I had a notebook, and I would scorecard. I would scorecard West Coast games, and they started at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And of course, I had to be up at 7 in the morning to go to school the next day. But now I just can't do it. I can't sit through a baseball game. The last time I actually went I went to a Yankee game. I did something I have never done, and that was I left in the fifth inning, and I left because
Wow.
I used to. I went to the ballpark. It was a relaxing experience. Okay. You sat in between innings. You had your hot dog. You got to go to the bathroom. You bought a bag of peanuts, whatever it was. Well, I hadn't been in the ball game for years, and all this. The announcer. Take a look at what's going on over in the bleachers, and they're throwing things in there to people to catch, and then they'd go to someplace else, and then there's all this music would be playing. I mean, loud, obnoxious music instead of that lovely organ that they would play. It's gone, and it's like I'm not doing this anymore. I got up and I left. Yeah, I got up and left. Joe, you
the last time I was to Yankee Stadium was the old Yankee Stadium, 1976. It was the Mayor's Trophy game, a charity ball game between the Mets and the Yankees, and I left about the sixth inning because the Yankees were clobbering the Mets like 11-4. I think the ultimate insult was when Billy Martin sent Catfish Hunter up to pinch hit. I said, I'm getting out of here. That's it. I'm done. And but Joe's right. I've been a big Met fan for all these many. I've been to so many famous Met games. I was at the Game 4 of the World Series in '69 where Swoboda made that unbelievable catch. I was at the Grand Slam single game with Robin Ventura with my sister. That went 15 innings. I seen the Mets win the pennant twice against the Reds and against in '73 and against the Cardinals in 2000. And I was at the Bill Buckner game. I was there with my wife. We were there, and you wouldn't believe it. I mean, when the Mets when the Red Sox put up the fifth run against them in that 10th inning and made it 5-3. I think it was Marty Barrett had driven in the second run in that inning, 5-3. That's when everybody in the ballpark started leaving. I mean, the Shea Stadium was emptying out real fast. And my wife said, "Are we leaving? Should we leave now?" And I said, "No." Stoically, I said, "We'll go down with the ship. We'll see it to the end." And sure enough, I mean, when they were mounting that rally in the bottom of the ninth, we're looking at the parking lot. You wouldn't believe it. The people scurrying, trying to come back into the ballpark. Rally. It was unbelievable. One thing more about that game. I feel so bad to this very day. There was a young lady who was sitting in front of us. She was a Red Sox fan. We didn't harass her. We didn't call her names or anything else. And she's sitting there, and when they scored those 2 runs in the top of the 10th, you could see how happy she was. Woo! Woo! Like that. She's going like that, and she's so happy. And I said, yeah. Like that. When that ball went through Buckner's legs, I leaned over and did a Fred Flintstone. Joe will understand this, and maybe all the Flintstone fans. I leaned over. She's like downcast. I leaned over and I said, "Like I told you, lady, don't bet on the Red Sox." And she just, like tears in her eyes, and she got up and she left. And I think about that all these years later. I said, I shouldn't have done that. That was so crass. But anyway.
Paul Callahan on the board says the 1976 was actually the old but newly remodeled Yankee Stadium.
Correct.
That is correct.
Correct. I was at the old Yankee the old Yankee Stadium in '73. I was at Columbus High. I was in Columbus High School. I was, I think, the editor of my paper, and I went with my advisor that the Yankees had a press conference for high school newspaper editors, and one of the people who was on the dais was Roy White, and I asked him a couple of questions, and he was very nice. He answered them, and we put it in the paper and everything else. 40 years later, I'm asked to throw out the first ball at the Rockland Boulders game. Up, it's a minor league ballpark in Ramapo, and who's there but Roy White? And I go up to Roy White and I say to him, I said, Roy, I said, you remember me? 40 years ago. And he looked at me, he said, I think he said something to the effect like, people come up to me and they ask me questions like, I'll bet you don't remember me. And he said, you know what, Guy? And I said, why? He said, they win every time.
Right.
I don't remember.
All right. So you know what, guys? Let's wrap it up. We're an hour and 5 minutes in. So Anthony, Tony, great to have you here. And, you are always welcome. In fact, I may call on you from time to time to express your never to be humble opinion with regards to what may be going on weather-wise.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. You know where I live.
Yes, I do. I'll find you. Well, I'll send you a message. I'll send you a message. We'd love to have you back on. Bill Goodman, you are a semi-regular, and we love it. So thank you, of course, for joining.
Thanks. Alex, living around the corner has its advantages.
It does. And you both know if you ever want to come on, you just shoot me a message. Anthony, I'll apply the same courtesy that I applied to Bill. I'll waive the appearance fee.
Thank you.
I'll even waive the hair and makeup fee, so you'll be all set.
Okay. Well, yes, like today.
Yeah, exactly. Doug Wetzel and the chairman hitting super chat. Thank you so much to both of you. Joe and I really appreciate it. Joe, do you have any closing comments before I say goodbye?
It's going to be an action-packed coffee with Joe and Joe Sunday morning, because by tomorrow morning when we come on at 11 o'clock, we should be right smack in the thick of things, and that should make it all the more worth watching. So all of you, make sure you watch, tell your friends, and thank all of you for the 128 likes that we had today.
Yes, 128 likes. Thank you very much. And I think we were in the 400s with peak viewers at one point. And before the Joe and Joe Weather Show, be sure you rush out to Omni True Value Hardware and get the rock salt that you might need or any of the snow melt products. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 6317-561125. The best prices in town, whether you have a snow removal crew or it's just you're an individual, want to take care of your house. They've got everything you need there. And by the way, they will be open. Normally they're closed on Sundays, but they will be open all day tomorrow, starting at 6 a.m. and going through tomorrow night. So you can go back and forth and get what you need at Omni True Value Hardware, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So once again, thank you to Tony, Gigi. How did that happen? The box.
I hit low battery power, so it was timed perfectly.
Okay, so good. So yeah, before you run out of gas, we'll say goodbye.
Yes.
Everybody, see you. You just threw me off. We'll see you tomorrow. Joe, tomorrow 11 o'clock. Everybody, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.